Well, hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for being here tonight at our Connect group. My name is Dominic Insenius. I'm the leader here at the Heart, and I'm so glad that you're here tonight to talk through some of these things with us. We believe that when it comes to our faith, the best way it grows, the best way to work out our faith is to do it in these groups and these conversations where we can share what's on our heart, what's on our mind, and be able to talk that out together. It's the power of the community that makes our faith grow more than anything else. So I'm grateful that you're here tonight. If it's your first time at group, we're going to have a few questions based on the message on Sunday. But even if you weren't there or don't go to church here or anything else, you can still be a part of the conversation tonight. We're in a series at the Heart called the Not So Old Testament, and we took some time this Sunday to look through the book of Ruth. And I'll have a couple scriptures up on the screen that you guys can look at together. But we talked about what it meant to be a selfless person, what it meant to serve others, what serving means. And maybe what that looks like for you. Maybe it's volunteering, maybe it's doing a couple of different things, but there is something different about serving when it comes to that versus volunteering. That anybody can volunteer, anybody can do a task, but it takes heart to serve. That's one of the things that we looked at on Sunday. So for this first question tonight, what I want to know from you is when you hear the word serve, what does that mean to you? Maybe you grew up in church, maybe you didn't, but when you hear, maybe at the Heart, when we talk about serving, when we talk about giving of your time and doing things around the church or doing things throughout the week, what do you think of when you hear the word serve? So let's take a few minutes to talk through that and see what you guys think. All right, now for the next question, I want you to think about a time where you needed help moving. You had some big task, some big favor. And maybe this time in your life, you had someone who stepped up to help you, who offered to be assistance for you, but they wanted nothing in return. See, sometimes we feel like when people help us, there has to be this transaction, like we have to repay them or we want to repay them. But I want you to think about a time and talk through it where someone helped you when you needed help in a big way. Maybe you needed to move or something else, maybe something emotional. You needed help and somebody helped you and they wanted nothing in return and expected nothing in return. And I want to know how that affected you and maybe how that affected your relationship with them. So let's take some minutes to talk through that and see what you guys think. All right, now Ruth, in this book of Ruth, she's the main character here, and she sacrifices her life, her position, what she could do, which the life she could have made to stay by Naomi, to selflessly be there for her, to selflessly sacrifice, to do everything for her and be there for her. And so what I want to know is I want you to think about your life, and can you think of a time when you were alongside with someone, you served alongside someone, you were there for someone selflessly, you would sacrifice yourself or your time or your money or whatever it is, you would sacrifice yourself for that person, do things for them. But you did this in a way where you didn't want anything in return. You were just doing this out of your heart, something that you wanted to do, that you chose to do. And I want to know how that made you feel, how that affected your relationship with that person. Did that change anything about your life going through that time where you were selflessly sacrificing for someone in your life? So let's take a few minutes to dig through that. All right, now for our last question, it's all about application. What we're wanting to do is take what we're learning, what we're studying, what we're reading, and we want to apply it to our lives. Because if we're not able to apply it, if we're not able to take what we're learning, what we're looking at, and apply it to our lives, then all we're doing is reading an ancient book. But the scripture, the text, the Bible, it comes alive when we read the words and apply them into our life. And we take what was so old, this Old Testament, and bring it all the way up to where we are now. That's the whole point of this series. This series, the Not So Old Testament, is the things that people were facing thousands of years ago is not very different from the things that we face today. The things that humans were worrying about and acting on and doing is not so different than what we're doing today. So I want to be able to apply this into our life. So like Ruth, someone who would serve from a place in their heart, not wanting to do a task, not just volunteering to build a resume, but someone who is serving from their heart. I want to know from you this week, how can you apply this into your life? Where is it in your life that you can serve Maybe it's at your work or a place that you already are volunteering. How can you change your heart there? Maybe it's your kid's little league team or whatever it happens to be. So where can you serve that you're already in your already community that you have in your life? And maybe it's not a where, maybe it's a who. Who in your life can you serve? How can you walk up to someone? Maybe it's your wife or your husband or your brothers, your sisters, your mom or dad, people at work, and say, how can I serve you today? Who is someone that you can serve from a place in your heart and not just because you think it's something you're supposed to do? So let's go around the room. I want to challenge you to share on this question tonight if you haven't shared, so we can all learn how we can pray for you, how we can be in this journey with you. So this is the last question for tonight. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and weekend. We are continuing our message series, The Not So Old Testament. This coming Sunday, week 3, we're going to talk about generosity. I hope to see you there at 9:30 and 11. All right, love you guys too much, and we'll see you soon.